We're going to do something somewhat different, but we're going to talk about three subjects: faith, honor, and obey.
What are you coming out of?
Well, there's three different scriptures, but we will come out of Luke, Matthew, Deuteronomy, and Samuel. And under faith, we'll go to Luke chapter 7, verses 1 through 10. When Jesus had finished saying all this in the hearing of the people, he entered Capernaum. There a centurion's servant, whom his master valued highly, was sick and about to die. The centurion heard of Jesus and sent some elders of the Jews to him, asking him to come and heal his servant. When they came to Jesus, they pleaded earnestly with him, "This man deserves to have you do this, because he loves our nation and has built our synagogue." So Jesus went with them. He was not far from the home when the centurion sent friends to say to him, "Lord, don't trouble yourself, for I do not deserve to have you come under my roof. That is why I did not even consider myself worthy to come to you. But say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I myself am a man under authority, with soldiers under me. I tell this one, go, and he goes, and that one, come, and he comes. I say to my servant, do this, and he does it." When Jesus heard this, he was amazed at him, and turning to the crowd following him, he said, "I tell you, I have not found such great faith, even in Israel." Then the men who had been sent returned to the house and found their servant well. A lot of people have different ideas about what shows faith. The definition is you ask God for something and it's done. That's one. There are several definitions that people have. What do y'all think about the Christian faith? What does that mean to us?
Well, according to the Strong's, it's persuasion that is credence, moral conviction of religious truth or the truthfulness of God, or a religious teacher especially relies upon Christ for salvation. Faith is the assurance. Assurance.
Some people talk about faith of healing. They're going to be healed, whether in this world or in the next world. Of course, some people would rather have it in this world. Like some people said, I've got my ticket, but I'm not really wanting to get on the bus yet. Some people don't like that saying, but we have the faith if we are, I guess you would say, practicing Christians, that we're going to heaven whenever the time comes. many ways to get to heaven. The last count I had was 5. I only know of one. And that's through Jesus. He is the way. He says he is. We have to believe that. These other ways that people have come up with, I think they are spoke of in the Bible as false prophets. Not going to happen, but one way. What else do we get from this reading? The centurions, he said, I wasn't worthy for you to come under my roof, for Jesus to come under the roof. He did not build himself up. He did not act like a guy with a big head. Another one in here someplace, different translation maybe, he said, I tell somebody to do something and they do it. If you tell him to be healed, he'll be healed. And in that one he was healed. But we say we believe and we ask, and then we start asking questions. Do I have enough faith?
Well, sometimes you're down and it's hard to hang on to that faith that he gave us. But I had a bad aftershock yesterday. I was so angry. I said, I'm tired of living. I can't go on. And it hurt my heart, but I just wanted to go. I was so tired. But I know God has a place for me. I don't know what, or I wouldn't be here. And so I have to use that faith and stand on the rock.
When he gets ready, you will be going home. But he's not ready. And for whatever reason, we don't know. But he does, and we just have to, one of my sayings is we have to keep on keeping on. And sometimes that's tough. Because sometimes we want to give up, but we can't. Look at examples. Look at Job. Gee whiz, that poor guy, he went through it through no fault of his own. But God knew he would. And he wanted to use Job's faith to show Satan, hey, look, you ain't got no business in this. You might as well take your marbles and go home.
I agree, but I don't know that it was just to prove Satan wrong. I think it was, for example, for future generations, for us, to have something to look back on and understand faith and more context, more assuredly. Just somebody said that. I think that was an example, which he's going to be rewarded for, I'm sure. But an example for us and everybody from his time on out, continuing, for example, that we can look back on.
Yeah, I see that.
If it wasn't in the book.
When I woke up, was laying there on the table, I really didn't know what was going on because they were just scurrying around there doing this and that. come over and said, we didn't do surgery. Something was wrong with some of the readings on the EKG about your heart. None of that really hit home till I got to my room that I was going to spend the night in. But I wasn't worried. Maybe because I didn't know everything that was going on, but I still wasn't worried because every one of them, instead of just standing around and with a look on their face, they did their job. And whatever that was, they did it. And that was a whole lot different than the first time I had my knee operated on. I woke up and everything was hunky-dory. But that's the difference in time, in situations. But there we are. I mean, we don't know, or I don't know.
Hello, friends.
Hello, gentlemen. You're a lot better.
We were back to
Hi. Thanks for having us.
We are talking about faith, honor, and obey. Right now we're on faith, so we had talked about a centurion who had asked Jesus to come heal his servant, and the centurion said, I'm not worthy to have Jesus come under my roof. So he said, just speak and he'll be healed. And he was. And there's a bunch of other examples about faith in the Bible, but that was the one I chose to bring up tonight. So if you got any questions about faith or any statements that you want to make about it, to tell us, because your leader tonight doesn't know everything. So he needs help. Any words that you have would be welcome.
I kind of have one. So I had something happen recently that has been causing me to have to really reach into faith. On my birthday, I should probably start before that. Back in December, I read a story that really, really touched my heart about leukemia. And so I joined this registry for people that need a donor to hopefully go into remission or to at least get some years added onto their lives. And so I did this, and I mean, for a lot of people that I have heard from and saw, they've been on it for 10 years, some of them longer than that. They've never gotten a call. It's not something that's, super duper common. Well, I got a call on my birthday that I'm a match to somebody. And this guy's really sick. And he's 59 years old. That's all I know about him right now. And that he has myelodysplastic syndrome. And it's like a form of leukemia. It's a blood cancer. And I guess that I just didn't really think that was gonna, it sounds silly to say I didn't think it was gonna happen, but was I really prepared for that? Like once it actually did happen, and then Brother Bob's sermon on Sunday, it was like, he was just talking right to me. Like everything I had prayed about, and I told Zach that. I was like, I couldn't even, like I wanted to go up and pray with him after his sermon, and that I couldn't, because I was still processing the fact that it literally answered every single thing that I prayed for. like, when God calls on you, are you ready? Like, you know, do you have the faith to listen? And yeah, so that's kind of what I'm facing right now, and I have to just have faith that if it's meant to be and that I can help him, I'm gonna do it. I mean,
The blood work, she just came over and
yeah, I just had the second step done. I had someone come to my house on Monday and did my blood work to confirm the match test. I think it's, you would know, I think it's HLA or something with, because it's complicated. It's complicated. He would have to, he undergoes chemo for like a month before this transplant, and he's a candidate for something that makes it easier on me. It's called stem cell transplant, so I would have to like take shots for 5 days and then go and sit for like 6 to 8 hours, and they would take the stem cells out through like a blood, like giving blood basically, like giving platelets or plasma. So it's no easy thing, and with 4 kids, I'm like, I think the enemy just kept creeping up on me, and like I would just lay in bed at night, and then I would start getting so anxious, and I was like, I can't do this, it's too much. How am I going to do it with 4 kids, with just so many people dependent on me? And yeah, so I had to really reach into my faith, and that I still have to. Even now, I'm still having feelings come up. It's a lot.
Was it on your heart to start this process anyway? So it was just something out of the blue you decided?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was something out of the blue. I decided, but I thought about it quite a bit, and I prayed about it quite a bit before I did it.
You felt
The
like
reason-
you got the answer that you...
The reason why I did it is because I've given blood for so long now, because I'm O negative. So
That's me.
anybody can have my blood, and so the Red Cross loves me. I do anytime I can. And then this came up, and I was just like, I mean, with the things we went through with him, I'm like, if there was something, somebody could say there was something in this realm that could fix this, or hopefully maybe fix it, the possibility.
To extend his life.
Yes, like anything, I think that's what laid it on my heart so much, was like, if I could do this, I gain nothing out of this, it's purely, and I think that's the number one thing. Honestly, that might sound weird, but that's something that, more than praying for my children, more than praying for anything, I ask God all the time, I like to use my life in the way that He wants, whatever He needs from me. I always ask that it's just clear to me that that's what He wants me to do. That's always been my number one prayer, and here I kind of get faced with this thing.
Good job.
And I'm scared a little bit, but you know, I have moments, and I have to, I know that those feelings aren't from God. They're not. That's just the enemy creeping in, and I keep thinking to myself, and I don't know why I have this feeling, but I'm like, what if this man, his family has been praying so hard for an answer for him? And here I am, a match. And I'm a high match too. They did say that. They said once they do blood work, they'll be able to tell I might be a perfect match for this guy. And if that is the case, his chance at remission, his chance at this being successful increases tenfold.
I got me some blood. You can get you some.
Yeah. Yes, if I'm ever bleeding out, call Jim.
Yeah.
Someone start an IV on
We
Jim.
can't get it from everybody. We have to get...
I know.
If the church family can do anything, if I can do anything as far as smoothing over shoulder to lean on, don't lean too hard though. Lean on the left side right now. But we're ready to do whatever we're capable of doing.
Brother Bob said that too, and I know those things, so that's what I mean, like those feelings creeping up on me of like anxiety and just like hesitancy. I sit there and I'm like, what is one, like you're talking shots and all, shots given, you know, sometimes after giving blood you get tired, like occasionally that can happen. you're talking like a week out of my life that might change this man's life.
Part of that is Satan had tried to talk you out of it. It's not the same, but this just come to mind. One of young men that went to this church several years ago, his brother and sister still goes, but he had a tree cut on him, accident. He had a concussion, and I got charge of keeping him awake all night. Now, if you know me, I can go to sleep at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
But that was back when I didn't do that. I sat and talked to him, shook on him, told him you can't do that, wake up. And I'd have to sneak and get something to eat because he couldn't have anything to eat, if I remember correctly, too. So, God matches people up in such a way that some don't understand. If we're willing, He'll make us able. So
I like that.
that comes into the faith part. And if He asks you to do something, some people say to jump and ask how high. I say, get up and go. He's pointing in the right direction. Well, I don't want to be going south and He wants me to go north. You know, tell me which way to go. And He provides whatever that you need. I'm somewhat mechanically inclined, and I always talk about tools. He will have 100 toolboxes sitting over there with all kinds of different tools in it, and He'll tell you, well, you go get number 10 in the box. And that's the one you need to go do whatever He asks you to do. You don't have to drag this great big 2,000-pound box with you. And I know some people wouldn't understand that, but some toolboxes gets pretty good size. But, okay. Next.
I believe it with people, He puts people, the right people in your life that you need.
I agree. If it's meant to be, that's something I pray for. I'm like, if it's meant to be, it's going to be. And I think that having faith amongst doubts and fears, because those are normal to have. I mean, it's so important.
Unknown. You know,
It is. It's the exactly. That's a
And we're
word
all
perfectly.
perfectly at, you know, if you're facing surgery, you never had it before, you're afraid of going to sleep and not waking up. And it's normal to feel that kind of fear, but if you feel that's what God's calling you to do, the reaches out.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. Trust in Him in the unknown is, I mean, I've had to do it in big ways in the last couple of years, and we've talked about that, and it's really, really grows your faith. I feel like to exercise that, stepping into something that is unknown and trusting Him in the process. It's not always easy, and it's not always graceful, but
Saying that God leads you to it, you believe it.
yeah.
Running a little bit behind time according to the clock here, but if we're done with faith, we'll go on to honor. That's 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 30. Therefore, the Lord, God of Israel, declares, I don't believe in God. Well, God created everything. And there was a mathematician, and I can't remember his name, but he had an equation of what it would be if the universe just happened. The Big Bang Theory just happened. Well, if it was the Big Bang, I think God had it orchestrated. And he was the one that lit the fuse. But anyway, we have to honor God because he does everything for us. He gives us our needs. He comforts us. And one day, when we go home, we'll be out of this mess. And they try to describe heaven. I can't imagine what it's going to be, how it's going to be. No crying for hurt, no illness, no more death, no more hunger, no more of anything that we have here that's undeserved. They talk about the streets of gold. Well, I don't know that it's going to be gold, but it's going to be something that is so beautiful to walk on. Oh yeah, another thing, people that can't walk and can't run will be able to do that. And there's a joke about this guy that goes out and buys a bunch of gold and has it put in his casket. When he gets to the gates of heaven, St. Peter's there waiting for him. And he opens the casket up and the guy sets up. What'd you do this for? I said, well, I wanted my riches to come with me. Riches? What'd you bring pavement for? So, what is valuable here really won't be valuable in heaven. Okay, that has nothing to do with honor, but I just thought of that. What's your all's thoughts on honor?
You're talking about you don't know if it will be streets of gold. It says the Bible's going to be streets of gold.
Yeah.
But it's going to be the purest gold. And pure gold is not yellow like you think gold is. It's clear, transparent. So,
That's interesting.
pure, the gold that you see in the gold is actually pure. So, I mean, it's more of a transparent type gold. So, if you thought out of the blue, there you go.
No, that's
Anything else? Come on, y'all got to say something. We got through that long fast.
I mean, honor can go a bunch of different ways. I mean, not just with God, but also with your husband, with your wife. I was reading, we were talking about that one Sunday, and I wish that I could find it. It was talking about how marriage is one of the greatest sanctifications we can go through in life, in regards to forgiveness and, I mean, really just, I mean, one of the most intimate loves you know in your life, which I think correlates a lot to, you know, how Jesus loved us. We have to have mercy for each other and grace for each other. And I would say that at the point of my life I'm in right now, honor is a really big thing in my marriage with me. And we're still young, figuring it all out. You and Elaine would probably have a whole lot more advice than we would have.
It just, the problems just change as you get older.
Yes, but I do think
Also,
that
your marriage also reflects on your children.
it does.
Because your children will when they are ready to start dating and get married, they're gonna look at how you ought to interact with each other. And I have a friend that I went to nursing school with, that her parents fought constantly. She was the oldest of 4 children, and she said when they would start fighting, we would go in the closet in my bedroom and hide. And she said we were always scared when the noise quit, because we just figured one of them was dead. And she said, I grew up with that. And she said, so when she started dating her husband in high school, and they got married after we finished nursing school, and they've been married for 49 years now. And she said that was my first thing was, we would not fight in front of my children. We disagree. She said, don't get me wrong, Steve and I butted heads, because he's stubborn and I'm stubborn. But she said, we made it a rule, we do not have a screaming fight where our children are around. And we both talked, because his family was similar. They argued a lot. And she said, I was so scared that something would happen to one or even both of my parents, and then what would happen to us. And she said, I did not want my children growing up. So it's how we, sometimes it's how we raised that make us want to be the opposite.
Definitely. And I mean, and I feel that way, that, you know, by honoring, I mean, especially your marriage, honoring your husband, honoring your wife, and then also honoring others. I mean, it really does, I feel like, grow you closer in your relationship with, which for me it has. It really
When I worked
has.
full time, I had a friend that invited me to go to a concert with her, and I said, let me check it out. And she said, do you have to give us permission? I said, not necessarily, but I'll be gone on a Saturday night that I normally would be at home. And I said, I would expect the same out of him if he was going to someplace like that. And she said, well, my husband doesn't care whether I tell him or not. I said, well, I don't know that Alan necessarily cares, but that's respectful.
It is, and that goes back to
And
honoring.
you
We
now,
literally just talked about that with the kids, trying to explain that.
yeah, it's not a matter of having to get permission, it's a matter of treating them the way you want to be treated too. And you teach your children, when you all treat each other that way, your children learn that too.
Yeah, I think those things are really important. That might be a little off topic on honor. It's just a different perspective on honor. It is, I mean,
We don't get through a whole night totally on topic.
well, everybody, you know, I mean, different things sit with people where they're at in their lives. I mean, we're all at different stages of our lives. I think that's what's so cool about, you know, I think that's so cool about our meetings is there's so many like amazing conversations I feel like that you and I have, that me and Stephanie have, and we're just all at different points and different points in our walk.
Everybody
And so
brings something different.
it is, and I think about some of the things you all say, and I'm like, that was really, and I think about that afterwards.
Any other comment about honor? Because the next one is obey. And that comes from Romans chapter 1, verse 5. Through him and for his name's sake, we received grace and apostleship to call people from among all the Gentiles to the obedience that comes from faith. We went full circle there. But obedience carries with it, in other sections it said obey your father and mother. Children, obey your parents. But the obedience, the number one obedience, we have to obey God. And that started early on. Well, not happening. Adam and Eve disobeyed God. And then they got into a little tiff and blaming. Adam blamed Eve. Well, God, it's your fault because here you give me this woman. But, and of course Adam messed up too, because he was supposed to take care of his wife, and he didn't do it. So the finger pointing shouldn't have happened, but we still do that today. The child, it's his fault. He made me do it. That, I think it's Flip Wilson that had something about
The devil made me do it.
the devil made me do it. The devil didn't make you, you chose. And that's where we go wrong on that. But if we follow God and obey God, I'm not saying it's not going to be a smooth trip. But in the end, things are going to turn out all right. So, you all take over because I'm done. Come on, Jim.
Oh, I don't really have a whole lot to say. I'm listening to everybody else tonight. I'm kind of taking in what they got to say. So I'm not talking anyway, so.
I agree. The part of the woman's the problem.
Just think how dull your life would be without it.
He blamed it on Eve.
No, it was definitely Adam.
He blamed it on Eve back before we invented rolling pins and frying pans. Kind of got away with it, I think.
That's funny.
Well, when I fell and busted my head open, I blamed Wayne for hitting me in the head with a cast iron skillet. And Brother Bob said, "No, you can't do that. You done used that excuse." I said, "Well, no." But you talk about marriage, you talk about a couple, and some couples can't joke like that because it's too serious. They think you actually blame them. And then you have the group that says, well, marriage is 50-50. He has to do half and I got to do half. I don't think that works.
Well, it's not biblical either.
No.
When it ain't a partner, it's your co-pilot.
Yeah.
No matter what happens.
And
If I fall out, like I do the brunt of the work where I say that, but we got 4 kids, she right. But I do the brunt, I make the money. But if I fall out, she's gonna figure it out. Like it's co-pilot.
It is. There's some days he's gonna have 20% to give and I've gotta make up for that 80. And there's gonna be times where I have 20% to give and he covers my 80.
At the end of whatever period you
It
want
should
to
be.
assign, it totals up to 100% and whatever.
It does.
Somebody has to do a share and the other partner does a share. What that share equals is not relevant as far as the little black book. You didn't do your share today, I had to do more, so tomorrow you gotta do more.
And the thing is Jesus doesn't keep track of those wrongs. And so that's what I mean by the thing that I had read. It worded it so beautifully, and I need to find it, talking about marriage being one of the truest sanctifications we go through in life is, and it's meant to be that way, is the thing, is that it, you know, you can't do that. And I don't feel like that, having that grace and that mercy, like truly, not just saying it, but truly stepping into that and setting yourself aside, it does sanctify you in a way, I guess. At least it has for me. That's just been something
It
that
changes your
we
focus.
talk, it does, it looks at the bigger picture.
If you start out with married life, do you think it's going to be 50-50? You're going to be disappointed the first week because it's not. There are some days that I can do more and Alan has to take it easy or has other things he has to do. And then there's some days that he does a lot more than I do. It just, we balance each other out. But if you're going to start keeping track of, well, I did this, this, and this, so you have to do this, this, and this, you're never going to be happy.
And you're not gonna get anywhere either.
No,
So
you're
that's the
not.
thing.
You're just going to keep digging a hole that you're never going to get filled out.
Well, that's why God used a rib for the woman. So it didn't use a head bone or a foot bone to be over him or under him. It used a side bone to be
To be
side,
together,
yes,
side
yeah,
by
be
side.
side by side, the apartment.
And that's what you're your partners. And it's just like, if you have a business partner, there are some things that one partner's could be, maybe they're better at finances and you're better at the hiring. You work together on what your skills are, and you work what you're best at, but you support each other. And there's some days where you make up slack for one, and another day they make up the slack for you.
That's like my wife, Erin, when we first got married, I said, look, I'll go make the money. I said, you take care of all the finances, as long as I got $20 in my pocket, you know, do what you want to do with it.
So
She
we are
got
too.
Well, I was getting to that. Pay the bills and all that stuff. And then come along, I didn't know she was gonna take out taxes and stuff. So, it wasn't $20.
Raising kids, yeah, Zach doesn't get his $20 right now, but that's not true. You do. It's just, I pick it up, or you don't get it
I
more. You
get
don't get
bribed
it
at, if I
monetary.
do, if I get it, I get bribed at.
I think that's the reason that God said that a man needed a helpmate, not a worker,
My bad,
not a slave, not any other word that you want to put there, a helpmate.
That's what I was gonna say whenever you're talking about obedience. You know, biblically, if we're, I mean, and I know that sometimes that ruffles feathers, but, you know, God originally creates it where there was a really cool depiction of it visually, like where here's God, here's the first umbrella, which is the man, the second umbrella, which is the wife, the woman, then the children, and how do I want to word that without it sounding, but I really truly believe that it best is suited that way. There's so many ways where, like, you know, split up between men and women. Biblically, they say that God calls on you all for different things and to lead in different ways and to lead the family. And that can sometimes, it doesn't mean that he's any greater or better than me in any way, shape, or form. It's just his position in the marriage, and it's just his position
And it's not
in
that
our
he's the
family.
dictator.
Exactly,
He leads the family
exactly.
as the family leader.
And I guess that goes back to faith, obedience, all the things you just mentioned, faith, obedience, honor. That is something that's what my marriage has taught me, is by us. We've discussed this a lot, and I mean, it's hard. If I'm gonna be honest, there's some times where I'm like, no, I don't agree with that. Like, he does try to lead and be like, no, we're not doing this. What, if it's something to do with the kids, something to do with whatever, you know, because I don't know if I have a strong personality. Maybe I do a little bit. I'm stubborn. I'm probably a little stubborn. But I mean, I have had, that's just been something that has been drawing me closer to my relationship, of things that I have had to be like, I'm not operating from honor, obedience, or love, or anything. I'm going with what I think, but not with what I know is probably correct. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because
Does that
I
make
let
sense?
you do whatever.
Yes, yes.
Like, I talk to the men's group, I'm like, cheese balls, whatever. But, and until it comes to a point, like, I'm like, these tablets, I'm gonna throw them away.
Yeah.
Like, they're gonna get out there and take care of the
And
animals.
yeah.
Like, this is what's happening. But I'm always at work, when I get home, I'm exhausted. I want to go to bed, so it's, yeah.
But but a lot of times it is hard to, these things, these topics are not easy, is the thing.
Well,
It's not easy because
nowadays,
we're in
it's
our,
silly.
even, I mean, what we just talked about kind of just that, I guess I want to call it a hierarchy of things, but really and truly, there's times where I haven't let Zach lead in ways that I should have, and that's something that we're learning, but I guess I'm learning, that, it's important. It is important. There is strengths that he has and that God intends for you men to have that are just different than ours. And in the world we're growing up in today, that we are, there is almost this it all bleeds together. It's like we've lost kind of that just natural role about things because women are have had to be more masculine. They've had to take on leadership role and handle it all, and marriages haven't stayed
There were
together.
very few single moms or something.
Yeah.
I mean, very few stay together regardless. But
It's
anymore, it's not like that.
it's easier for a guy to go out, make the money, protect his family, take care of his family and all that. I think it is a much more challenging job for the woman to take care of 4 kids and a household and all that stuff than for us. So I have a lot of respect for women, especially the ones with children and stuff like that, and household to take care of. I've got deep respect for that. And I know on my wife, I wasn't very good at helping her take care of those things. And she did a lot of the raising of my kids, and I got a lot of respect for her. So I think a woman has more of an important role than what they get credit for.
Yeah.
I definitely feel that way, but there's also, I think that's why biblically it's set up like that, is because women need someone to come in and be there. I mean, really and truly, there's so much I do with raising the kids. I was using myself as an example. There's so much I do with raising children that when he comes home, I want to almost be the one that's I feel like he's got me. I don't need to, it's like a leadership thing, if that makes any sense. And where he reinforces what I'm doing and I reinforce what he tells me that he feels would be best to lead our family as well. You really, I feel have to lay.
And it should be that way.
And it should be that, and it works best when it is that
One
way.
parent that always makes all the decisions, and the other one is just there.
Yeah.
The children, that's what they expect, and they go, well, mom will tell me what to do, or
Yeah.
dad will tell me what to do, or they'll play the parents against each other. I had
Yes,
a
they
really
do.
good friend that's what she said
Yeah.
she and her
They
brother would
do.
do. Mama would always say no, but daddy would always say yes.
No,
Yes.
they do that now. But it's hard for me with girls.
Yeah.
I do not want to put my hands on
Yeah.
my girls. I don't want them to grow up that way thinking, that's a hard thing between us. I'm like, you need to start whooping them. They know I'm not playing, but I don't want to put my hands on them. I don't want them to think that's right.
Daddy,
So it's
Daddy was more of I'm really disappointed in you. I would have rather had a whipping than for my dad to tell me he was disappointed in me.
Oh, no, I've had to go out and get my own switches, and I've used every tree, and leaves, no
Look
leaves,
for the
paddles,
brown
belts,
Yeah.
and I needed every one of them. I ain't saying I didn't, but,
Mama had a faucet water that was just for us.
But we need to come to a close here.
No, sorry.
No, that's all right.
Any
We always
final
Well, you
words?
go someplace to be?
Huh?
No, we do. Mama's watching these kids. She's tired. We can get with her.
Who would like to close us in prayer?
It's not my strong suit. Look at Elaine. Elaine's really good at praying. I'm really not, because I'm processing. We were knee deep in discussion, and I can't switch real fast.
Okay. Lane, you want to close us?
Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to get together and to to not just to read your word, but to study it and to find out what it means to us today. We ask the blessing on all those who are here and the ones who couldn't make it for whatever reason, that you keep us safe and bring us back again on Sunday. Give us a week where